Gold, new all-time high. Silver, new all-time high. S&P 500 knocking on all-time highs. NASDAQ flirting with it. Dow Jones, new all-time high. And Bitcoin, down 28% from its peak, worst Q4 in 7 years. No hacks, no FTX, no fraud, no scandal, no FUD. So let me ask you something. What kind of market does this sound like? Because it doesn't sound like price discovery. It doesn't sound like fear. And it sure as hell doesn't sound like fundamentals. It sounds like manipulation. And if you told me back in 2019 that Bitcoin would one day turn into the differently abled dragon of the meme of global markets while everything else just melts up, I would have laughed in your face. Gold and silver ripping. Bitcoin down on the year. Safe haven my ass. Worst bull market ever. But listen closely. This isn't weakness. This is containment. And today we're going to tell you exactly why Bitcoin is imprisoned, who is doing it, and the precise date that the handcuffs could come off. Because when this thing breaks, we're not going back to 70. We're going back to 95K and beyond. So strap the hell in. It's go time. Sunday.
But I see a big, large use case for Bitcoin, and I still do today. And so, this is one thing that I get excited about.
I think at some point, the general sentiment will flip from being short to being long, and we'll have a face-ripping rally north. I just can't tell you when.
All right, let's start with the signal everyone's pretending not to see. For the first time in recorded history, gold and silver both hit all-time highs on the same day. Let that sink in. Not near, not approaching, at the same time. Gold already broke out of its bull flag, silver followed. This is not random. This is not momentum trading. This is capital moving before something breaks. And here's the part Wall Street doesn't want to talk about. Historically, this kind of move says rates should be going higher, but they can't because welcome to fiscal dominance. Higher rates do not create demand for US Treasuries anymore. Let's walk through the math. Higher rates, higher interest expense. Higher interest expense, bigger deficits. Bigger deficits, more inflation. More inflation, lower real rates. And lower real rates destroy demand. So the Fed is trapped. They can't hike to defend the dollar. They cannot hike without detonating housing. They can't hike without blowing up equities. So what happens? They print. They expand the balance sheet. They cap the yield curve. They call it something cute. Treasury support, liquidity facilities, tariff rebates. But let's be honest, it's just helicopter money round two. And if you want a name attached to this thesis, this is straight from Lawrence Lepard. The big print is a-comin'. Here's the line you need to remember. The only difference between inflation and hyperinflation is trust. That's it. And trust is fragile. Gold and silver are not hedges. They are warning flares, and they're telling you something is coming faster than we all think. Because remember the quote, there are decades when nothing happens, and weeks where decades happen. This is one of those moments. Since 2008, the dollar has been the cleanest shirt in the dirty laundry, but look at what's happening now. The Fed is signaling rate cuts. GDP is still hot. Powell is gone by May 2026. And the new narrative is already being planted. The debasement trade. This time is different. This time the dollar loses purchasing power during inflation. This time, real rates go more negative than ever. This time, rate hikes are no longer a tool. That's why gold over 4,400 is not bullish, it's alarming. And it's why Bitcoin exists. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Bitcoin at 88K. You think buyers and sellers control this price? You're wrong. Bitcoin is in prison. And that prison is built by 6 Greek letters. Follow with me and check out this guy's thread. It's awesome. Metaphors make for great education. Meet the dealer, the market maker, a machine. Delta neutral, no opinions. Delta moves, he trades. Gamma spikes, he panics. But right now, Gamma is asleep. Net GEX negative. Why? Because 2 wardens are fighting, Charm and Vanna. Charm forces buys on dips. Vanna suppresses volatility on rips. Dump, bid appears. Pump, momentum dies. That's why we're chopping. That's why it feels fake. And here's the key. This structure expires December 26th. Half the gamma rolls off. The handcuffs vanish and price is free again. But until then, the math is in control. But while the price was pinned, institutions voted. Just look at this. 2013, gold drops 28%, 25 billion in outflows. 2025, Bitcoin drops 10%, 25 billion in inflows. Same stress, opposite behavior. IBIT absorbed 25.4 billion during the correction. While gold had its best year since 1979, and that's not opinion, that's data, BlackRock didn't launch an ETF. They canonized an asset class. Stocks, bonds, real estate, real assets, Bitcoin. It just became 55, 35, 5, 5. You gotta start somewhere. Didn't they just say 2%? This shit is moving fast. Oh, and by the way, the Pentagon just failed its 8th consecutive audit. Remember what we said about trust? Yeah, that's why Michael Saylor keeps stacking. That's why the big banks bent the knee. This isn't a negotiation. Oh shit, wait a minute. Did GigaChad orange pill the banks?
I meet with all these banks. I went and met with the CEO of Bank of America. I've been a client of Bank of America for 30 years. And I pointed out that, this is a great opportunity for the bank, and they were missing it by, having a very, very vague, ambiguous, anti-crypto policy. And maybe he should intervene. And he did.
Yeah! And GigaChad, you better hurry because there's a new contender entering the arena. They're already the number 3 holder, and they're aiming to purchase another 60 billion. That's not retail, that's not hype. That might be in-game capital. Someone should use that. But yeah, we're about to bring it home. But before we do, look at our likes.
3 or 4 times, maybe. I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Let's take a quick second for our sponsors who keep this show on the air over at the Bitcoin Way. If your wealth lives in their system, it's not yours, it's theirs. That's why we scream Bitcoin. That's why you self-custody. And that's why you call our friends over at the Bitcoin Way. They'll walk you through multi-sig, self-custody, privacy, how to run a node, and the tools that keep you sovereign when the fiat system pulls the plug. Don't wait till it's too late. Book a free 30-minute consult today using that link in the show notes. Need cash but don't want to sell your Bitcoin? Ledn is the global leader in Bitcoin-backed loans, issuing over $9 billion in loans since 2018, and they were the first to offer proof of reserves. With Ledn, you get custody loans, no credit checks, no monthly payments, and more. Visit learn.ledn.io/simply to learn more and get 25 basis points off your first loan.
Everything you thought about money, everything you thought about freedom, everything you thought about laws, everything you thought about free markets, everything you thought about political systems, everything was a lie. The price of Bitcoin in a piece of paper is part of living the same life. We've never lived in a free market. That system had to divide us, had to manipulate money or change the rules of money. If you saw Bitcoin as an asset, then it would make perfect sense to try to control all the Bitcoin, and it would fail because it would get centralized. Nothing is going to stop Bitcoin. As people go deeper into that, they're never going back. Everything is going to be priced in Bitcoin, not in pieces of paper.
What is real? How do you define real?
You can't jump into cash. Cash is trash. What do? You get out.
Jeff Booth is a legend. And he's right. And you should go check out that full interview with Cedric over at the Bitcoin Matrix. But deflationary technology, broken monetary systems, same conclusion. And that base ideology is shared by Strike and 21 Capital's Jack Mallers, who dropped this bullish nugget on Bloomberg. Roll it.
I don't know if I agree with the categorical marketing term of treasury company for 21.
What would you call yourself then?
A Bitcoin company. We want to be the best Bitcoin company in the world.
And what does that actually involve? Because if we look at the landscape right now, we can see companies like Coinbase, for example, that are really focused on being a marketplace, being an exchange. And then you have the strategies that are focused on the treasury side of this. For you, where do you see the biggest area for growth?
Oh, you put it right on a tee for me. I'm going to hit it out of the park. That's exactly the market hole we want to fill. Is that
what's the hole, though? Those companies are there.
Yeah, but the hole is there's a lot of exchanges that aren't focused solely on Bitcoin financial services. We think they're missing the forest for the trees. Bitcoin's a $500 trillion asset in the making. These other technologies and crypto coins are maybe going to replace an Amazon. And so we think the focus on Bitcoin financial services and not getting diluted our focus through all these other speculative vehicles. And then for Strategy is the founder of this Bitcoin treasury idea, which is an incredible business, and Michael Saylor's been able to prove that. But they have yet to explore the idea of bolting on an operating company on top of that and using capital markets and their balance sheet to monetize this Bitcoin trend. We think we can live in the intersection of those with my experience at Strike, Tether's experience running stablecoins and USDT, SoftBank, our access to capital there. We think we can do both and blend those worlds into what will be a very unique Bitcoin vehicle in the capital market.
So what did we learn today? Gold and silver aren't bullish. They're warnings. The Fed is trapped. Printing is inevitable. Bitcoin is pinned by math, not fear, and December 26th is the release date. Institutions bought the dip, retail panicked, and trust in the system is evaporating fast. All I want for Christmas is 200K Bitcoin. Is that too much to ask? Pamp it and enjoy it while you can, bears, because this prison is a launch pad. What do you guys think? Let us know below. Hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pamp by sharing the Sound Money Gospel, and I'll catch you all next time. Merry Christmas. Love you guys. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, you.